Hi everyone. Welcome back to PARQUET episode 2. So this is where the real story begins. So episode 1 was just the prologue about how the main character came to life. So he was born out of a secret, illegal experiment done by the Ibuki Corporation, a company that makes BMIs or brain-machine interface. So the director ungratefully inherited this half project, and when this artificial life form came to life, the director ordered him to do, I would say, pretty much everything. So help save the company from its demise. And when the artificial life form did save the company, the director got greedy and wanted more, and it's like, well, you're my slave. You follow orders, so you will do whatever I want you to do. But then, as time went on, this life form gained a personality, and like how they phrased it in the movie Short Circuit, he's alive. So he can think for himself, he can make his own decisions, and he decided that it is best to let the director go. So obviously the director will be so upset. It's like, well, you can't get rid of me. I'm the one who built you. I'm a big person in this company, so I'm invincible. Well, to an extent. So the artificial life form now owns most of the company and therefore is able to make big decisions. And it kind of felt like the artificial life form was working on some kind of revenge for the bossy and greedy director. So anyways, let's see how it's gonna go for the real story. So, new game. Okay, so now we're looking at the story from the artificial life form's perspective. So I can still remember my first memory clear as day. Okay, so this is what the director looks like. So a strange man in a strange room suddenly commands me. And I don't remember anything prior to that. My name, my age, where I lived, my parents, how I grew up. And that explains why my first thought when I heard that was, I need to serve him. And I genuinely felt that way. So a task had been given to me. So reform the company Ibuki. And there were several reasons why they fell to the wayside and became mired in financial troubles. So as globalization progressed, scientific breakthroughs overseas led to them losing their edge in the global market. Okay, that makes sense. And although there were attempts to diversify and expand the company's reach, the old fogies in charge simply could not keep up with the change. That's true as well. And another significant factor was that management never did the necessary reforms in face of the decline. Well, then again, it's like, well, it worked in the past, and if we change, we might make it worse. And plus, I'm used to how this company ran in the old days. So on the contrary, I noticed that many of them are using company funds for strange things. And that is a byproduct, so they get too cozy with the company. And thus I determined that unless those in charge of management changed, the problem would not be fixed. Or never. And needless to say, fixing the company is a monumental undertaking. A small spending reduction will not have done anything. That's true. I need to put the whole business structure under a microscope and make drastic changes. So I want to completely restructure the company. So I got rid of pointless meetings and unnecessary overtime, which is good for the workers. And I did a large-scale review of staff positioning so that everyone could make full use of their potential. And I also set up a new valuation system to go with the reformed business structure. And then the improvements to our BMI products, and the list goes on. And one of those fundamental changes I propose was a change in leadership. And here's where he decides to fire the bossy director. So trying to better the company while keeping the same people that made it sink would be foolish. However, that decision is not approved. So it took roughly half a year for the effects of my changes to become clear and apparent. Okay, so he did try to bias it to... So the main problem with this company is poor leadership. So old managers who can't keep up with the times. And by making it apparent, I think it makes the shareholders, or it convinces the shareholders that these old managers won't work out. And Ibuki made a miraculous turnaround and was once again a profitable company and what they call a V-shaped recovery in the business. And I'm able to prove my worth. Or so I thought.
まだだ。こんなものでは足りない。業績を上げて息吹をもっと大きくしろ。
And once again, the greed from the director.
お前にはそれだけの能力があるんだ。価値を示せ。必要なことは何でもしろ。わかったな。
So the more thing. And whatever needs to be done. So I attained 51% of Ibuki's share in the market, and I persuaded major shareholders and gained support of my reforms. And now I am finally ready to implement my proposal, which was rejected. The motion to replace the current director has passed, or basically approved.
どういうつもりだ、貴様!
And the "you can't lay me off" thing. And he flipped into a rage. I don't understand why. I merely did what was necessary to make the company prosper and help it grow. And though I suppose his reaction is warranted, he could not have seen this coming. And all the shareholders that had his back until now turned on him seemingly overnight. It's like, well, since this guy is like the owner of the company now, and plus he was tasked with helping the company improve, and he did his part, so we'll follow him and we'll let you go. And in all honesty, the reaction was less than favorable as well. It's like, well, we did see from a new light that you are not a good director. and you're going to be an anchor that's going to drag this whole company down. Which is to be expected. From their point of view, I'm a complete and utter nobody.
誰だ君は？伊吹の関係者なのか？
And now they're wondering about this artificial man.
どこの馬の骨ともわからない男にこんな馬鹿げた提案をさせるとは。一体どういうつもりだ？そもそも警備はどうなってるんだ？私は聞いてないぞ、来客の予定など。
And they simply could not be reasoned with. However, after some time, I got them to ease up a bit. So at first, they were skeptical. It's like, who's this unknown person? Someone from outside coming in to make big decisions for the company. So naturally, they would feel uncomfortable. But now that this artificial man has done his part and gained the trust, the shareholders are willing to listen to the man.
そうか、伊吹の改革か。わかった。詳しい話を聞こう。
And there you go.
それは根拠のある話なんだろうな。
Of course, there was a trick behind their sudden change of attitude. Soul expansion. Okay, so now they see the artificial man more than just a robot, so he can think for himself. And I can connect directly with the minds of those I touch. And that allows me to strongly influence their decisions and feelings. So it's akin to a strong power of suggestion or hypnotism, basically. I use this power to persuade the shareholders, and I'm a spliced soul that's comprised of various human memories. And this is a power I can use precisely because of the instability of my mental makeup. And that's why I decided to call this soul expansion. And that said, it's not like this gives me carte blanche to make people do whatever I want. So I just made it so that they actually listen to what I had to say and give their reform proposal its due consideration. And what ultimately gave the proposal an attraction was the pressing concerns about Ibuki's current management. Okay, so the artificial man exposed the problems to everyone.
誰がこんなことをしろと言った？私の役に立てと会社を大きくしろと。
And likewise, the director would get defensive.
なのにお前は私を解任だと。そんなこと認められるはずがあるか。
Well, if I want what is best for Ibuki's future, all the agents responsible for the company's downfall must be excised. So we must remove all these bad agents.
なんだと？どういう意味だ？
I'm sure the director's like, I'm not one of those bad agents. Well, this company wants to achieve continual growth. It needs management that is up to the task. And the current management does not have what it takes. And this man, for example, was misappropriating company funds. Well, like I said, he's greedy. So he wants the artificial man to work harder to make more money for himself. So he enlisted the services of consultants with dubious, proceedings several times. So basically he's wasting money on unnecessary expenses. So hiring many consultants isn't going to do much. And they're very expensive to hire anyways. Oh, and even worse, so he gave himself bonuses without reason. And he imposes all the losses he incurs from his private investments onto the company. So literally he's embezzling company funds. And these crimes of his are a blight on the entire company. So pretty much putting all his losses on the company as a minus.
バカな。私がこの会社の。
But this company is mine. I represent a huge factor in this company. And he points his finger at me accusatorily, his eyes bulging. However, that does not change the truth.
私は。
So I'm pretty sure he feels guilt. It's like, well, I did do bad things, so I can't really stand up much longer. So I think this artificial man discovered all my bad deeds. And he stands there completely and utterly stunned, his shoulders dropped.
くそなんてことだ。貴様のような出来損ないに。くそ。
And I thought you were a piece of junk.
出来損ないの人形に。
And now comes the sour grapes. So the company is brought back from the verge of bankruptcy, and prospects for future growth are hopeful now. And Ibuki would continue to prosper. However,
出来損ないの人形に。
well, he's done anyways. His last remark stuck with me. And after that, several months went by, and I no longer have to issue instructions. So now, I think it's like, well, he got promoted, and he can make his own opinions, and they'll listen to him. So things will keep improving without the need for me to give each and every order. And I hear the employee morale is also rising. And now that the business is booming and the future is bright, I can deduce that the reforms have been a success. Which is why the company no longer has a need for me. Okay, so now that the company is doing well, I don't think I need to be part of it anymore. So, no, it's more than that. So, the company would be better off without me. So, I'm now dead weight. And the reforms are complete. And the future of the company, boom or bust, will definitely depend on the employees themselves. So now it's up to them to keep this company successful. And the company will run smoother without my invisible hand behind every move. There you go. Or at least, that's what I tell myself. And I can't stop thinking about it.
出来損ないの人形に。
And I still struggle to grasp the meaning behind those words. Well, I am not hurt. I just can't understand. I did everything I was ordered to do to the best of my ability, and did I make a mistake without noticing? And at that point, I realized my thoughts are occupied by non-work related matters. So, questions about my existence. And one day, I voiced those questions. So what are humans and what is normal?
はい。
and Manaka can't answer. Okay, so Miyoshi-san stared at me in confusion. So it is a difficult question, I know. And I'm not seeking any answer. I only wanted to convey what was on my mind, or is. So what are humans and what is normal? While I know of my origins, and that's not what I'm asking about. Well, I mean my spliced soul. And the words are straightforward in meaning, but it isn't that simple. So I'm not aware of any others like me existing. The fact that I woke up and gained sentience is a miracle in and of itself. And spending my days cooped up in a small room would be a waste of the opportunity given to me. And there might be more that I can do. I can barely contain myself anymore. However, before I leave, there's one thing that I must have at all costs, and my name. So can you give me a name? I'll need one if I want to live in this outside world. Well, you're the only one here, so well, you're the only one who's acknowledged me since I woke up. I have no one else but you, so I would like you to decide on my name. So she's the only person I have to talk to. And in fact, she may even understand me better than I myself do. She and no one else should name me. So here's where he gets his name. So Ibuki Kanato. So Ibuki Kanato. Okay, so I like that. And it has a nice ring to it. Considering that all my actions since my awakening have been revolved around the company, Ibuki seems like a apt last name. So it makes sense. I was born from the Ibuki Corporation, so my family name being Ibuki fits. And as well as Kanato. And if she thought hard and come up with it, then I'm sure it's a good name for me. So, Ibuki Kanato, it's perfect. And I've now taken the first step towards discovering myself. Well, thank you for giving me my name. I bow my head as a way of thanks. And it happened naturally, without intent. Wait, so is this a normal thing that happens? Well, I'm surprised at how natural the action came to me. And my heart then starts throbbing. A feeling of elation overcomes me, a feeling like nothing I've ever experienced. So, maybe the first time he's been happy. And when I felt thankful, I simply bowed my head to show it. So something new is sprouting within me. But this is not enough. I want to experience many more things. And that is why today I leave this room. So the life of Ibuki Kanato begins now. Okay, so we're at the opening video for this title, Parquet, and we'll see how it goes from here. So now we're gonna see how the artificial man Kanato fares now that he stepped into the real world for the first time in his life. So let's see how it goes past this opening video. So hold for a minute. Okay, so we're now past the opening, and it looks like Kanato is ready to leave his prison-like dorm room. So I've exited the room. I have no aim, but I have a purpose. Learn what is normal, or what normal is, and what humans are. And it's nothing grandiose, I know, but I want to leave, see the world, and interact with all sorts of people, other people. I want to experience the kind of normal life that none of the information input into me can elucidate or teach. And first, I want to go to a populous place where I want to become used to being surrounded by people. And with that in mind, I head to the station and board a train. I venture to the city, and here my new life will begin. I can't even begin to imagine what I'll experience. However, I am not afraid, and the uncertainty causes my chest to fill with excitement. Well, I'll just worry about things as they come. And I take a deep breath and step into the outside world. So where does he end up? Okay, so starting now, I am Ibuki Kanato. So walking outside is much more exciting than I dared to imagine. And the cold winter breeze touching my face, that's far different from the conditioned air I am so used to. And the warm sunlight serving as a relief from the clawing cold. Well, I wonder if his old room had a thermostat, or the company purposely made his room really cold. And the voices of all the passerby, and the buzz of cars on the streets, and the smell of exhaust fumes. Wait, that's not good. And the view of a bird salaaling down through the tree branches onto the ground. And these things seem so commonplace, yet they're things I could not find within the confines of the four walls. That's true. And when I ride on the train, I see the scenery outside the window change like a blur. And even if they are fundamentally similar, each station we stop at has a different feel to it. So is this the place I'm heading to also this vibrant, I wonder? And I finally arrive at the city, full of hope and excitement, and after stepping out, there's only one thing to do. Which is... Wait, it's night. Wait, so what did he do? Bleh! And spew my gastric juices onto the concrete. I feel so sick. And my vision is spinning. And it must be the sudden rise in temperature because the pit of my stomach feels awful. And my head feels like it's about to split too. Wait, why is this happening to me? Well, I was fine at first. I got off the train, left the station, and took in the scenery. Good. And throngs of people scurried to and fro. And there were shops, drugstores, and cafes as far as the eye could see. I also spotted some bars, restaurants, and many other types of shops. However, there didn't seem to be any residential buildings. But then again, he wanted to go to someplace popular, and going to a residential district is going to be quiet and sparse. So countless men and women of all ages walk up on the sidewalk, and more cars that I can count rolled by on the road, and the city is full of so many new things. And I could not have asked for anything more. So in a city like this, even I could be accepted. So everyone is welcome. And this is all I expected and more. And maybe it's good to have an open mind. Wanting to know more about the city, I decided to take a stroll around, and I enjoyed myself much more than I ever imagined, and ended up stopping and looking at all sorts of places. Okay, so it's now night, and I eventually found a convenience store and walked in, and they sold alcoholic beverages. And historically, people drink to relieve stress and recover from fatigue, and the employees of Ibuki also drink. Well, that's true. And I think Miyoshi-san does as well. So after a long day of hard work, it's time to celebrate. And it's been a beloved drink of many since ancient times. And in fact, it would not be an overstatement to say that alcohol is deeply intertwined with the human experience. Okay, so I have to drink it if I want to understand humans. And after doing some research on my phone about the best-selling types of alcohol, I pick up one labeled Strong Max without hesitation. Okay, so this is a good choice. And I wonder how much content is alcohol. So what's the proof rating? So it's apparently the best-selling canned alcohol citywide, and had even earned a record in the Guinness Book of Records. And I even remember Miyoshi-san mentioning that she drinks this almost every day. Yep. So she said a broad smile plastered on her face. So yeah, I drink this to get over the day. It's hard, and I'm sure now with better management, it's less stressful and less problems to worry about. So it sells the most, so it has to be good. And I triumphantly grabbed a can and paid for it. And I think it's too much for Kanato to handle. So I'm pretty sure the alcohol content is very high. Which brings us back to the present, where I am vomiting my guts out. Wait, so this is the best-selling alcohol ever, and why did it turn me into this? It's not disgusting taste-wise, but for some reason I feel sick to my stomach. And my head aches terribly, and I can't do anything about the oppressive feeling in my stomach. Wait, I don't get it. So why does everyone drink this then? So how come they don't experience the same sickness that I do? Wait, and Miyoshi-san's eyes are grinning so broadly, so she can handle this very well with relative ease. So does this really make her that happy? Or maybe I just can't understand humans. But I feel so sick.
Nah.
Okay, so someone's calling out to him.
ねえ、ちょっと。
I hear a voice nearby, directly above me.
生きてるよね。
平
気？手のは苦悶か。
You seem dead. And a no woman is looking down at me.
救急車呼んだ方がいい？
So, should I call an ambulance? No. I'm fine. I was just drinking and
ここに転がってるストロングマックス。
and she can figure out what he drank. My head hurts. I'm so dizzy.
ただの飲みすぎか。お酒飲むなら自分の限界くらいちゃんと把握しときなよ。
So you know, that drink is very strong, so you should have been more careful with that. Sorry.
いや、私に謝る必要はないんだけど。
Well, it's you that's being hurt, not me. I've never drunk before, so I don't know.
初めてでストロング系に行ったの？
So it's like, well, if it's your first time drinking alcohol, Strong Max is not the right choice for you. So it's for the experienced drinkers.
もっと度数の低いのから試していきゃいいのに。
There you go. Someone I know recommended it, and they drink it every day.
それはそれでやばいな。
Well, I'm sure that person has problems too.
ああ、顔も手も真っ赤。
Hey, you look all wasted. Head hurts.
急性アルコール中毒ではなさそうだけど。救急車呼ぶ？
I think I'll be fine.
そう、わかった。
Okay, whatever you say. And the woman stands up and walks away. And I can't keep vomiting here all day. That's true. Well, I think I ran out of gastric juice to hurl anyways. Okay. So, that was a first bad experience. But anyways, why does alcohol make her feel happy? And it doesn't do that for me, well, not at all. And next time I talk to her, I'll recommend that she stop drinking. But now, I need to worry about my well-being, so my health is already ruined. And when will this discomfort subside? Okay. Well, my cheeks are on fire. Oh, ow, 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 ow. An incomprehensible noise leaves my mouth because of the sudden sensations.
何その声？萌えキャラ
Oh,
か。
so she's still here. So what was that? Wait, so you're that girl.
はい、これ。
Alright, here you go. Huh?
水分補給はちゃんとしなよ。
Okay, so some relief drink. Okay. So she's pressing a can of warm tea against my cheek.
とりあえずお茶を飲む。んで、体が落ち着いたらスポーツドリンクを飲む。
Okay, so take this. So you need some relief, you need some liquids, and then
水分補給は重要。
you can go to a sports drink. So hydration is important.
それでも収まらないとか、体が冷たくなってくるようなら、素直に救急車を呼んだ方がいい。
Okay, thanks. And she's holding out the can of tea for me. And I sheepishly grab it and take a swig.
あと、ちゃんとしたところで休んだら。
Well, I think it's better if you go home and rest up. Well, thanks for the help.
お、早く家に帰りなよ。
Home. Wait, so home is the prison cell dorm room at the Ibuki company, so I don't want to go back there.
訳ありか。
So it sounds like you have a complicated home life, eh?
ま、出なきゃ一人でストロングマックスガブ飲みして吐いたりしないだろうけど。
So don't go wasting it on that alcohol.
何にしてもガブ飲みするのはやめといた方がいいよ。
I don't think I'll drink ever again after that experience. Well, can't blame ya. And she laughs at my assertion, and maybe my grave tone was amusing to her.
ほらほら、飲んで。
Well, drink up the tea. Go, go, go. And I feel a little less dizzy.
そりゃ何より。
Good, great. Really? Thanks. And why go out of your way to help me, though? And why show so much kindness to a stranger? And even I know people normally ignore drunk people on the street. But no one but her stopped to talk to me.
あんな死にそうな顔してたら心配になるでしょ、普通。
But you look like you were about to die.
他に声をかける人もいないし、急性アルコール中毒とかだとやばいし、酔っ払いから財布を盗む人もいるし。
Well, that's true.
見て見ぬふりするのは夢見が悪い。迷惑だった。
So, am I a bother to you? No. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks.
どういたしまして。しっかり喋れてるし、心配なさそうだね。
Okay, so it looks like you're all sober, so that's good.
私、もう行く。まだ仕事中だし。
Okay, wait. So let me pay for you. Or pay you.
お金を気にするよりも、自分の体調を気にしなよ。
Well, you're still drunk, so...
スポーツドリンクもちゃんと飲むこと。
So use that sports drink to help you. Thank you.
じゃあね。
And I did not expect to be met with such kindness. Well, then again, he looked really bad when he was vomiting. Even less so from a woman that was just passing by. And we only spoke briefly, but that was enough for me to see the kindness in her heart. Well, I'm not the one to believe in such things as destiny, but I am fortunate to have met her, and I'm once again reminded that I have many things to learn about this world. Well, I am glad that I left the room, and despite feeling sick, that I puked my guts out. And even that failure is an enriching experience. Okay, so this is what it feels like drinking strong alcohol. Not that I would like to repeat it. And surely this won't be the first time I make a mistake here in the outside world. So making mistakes is part of learning. But through that, there's always the possibility of meeting more wonderful people. And the thought brings me joy. Well, I can't wait to see what tomorrow has in store for me. And my heart leaps just thinking of the possibilities. And my first day as Ibuki Kanato. I met her. Or rather, I met them. Okay, so what's next? So, I look back at the building I just came from and heave a sigh. Okay, so sleeping in a capsule hotel is pretty tough. So after sobering up yesterday, I searched for a place to rest, and my curiosity got the better of me, and I drank alcohol yesterday, but I should have probably looked for a room to rent first. I tried afterwards, but the hotels were all full. I'm sure they're pretty expensive if he's in for a long stay, so they're only meant for like 1 to 2 days of stay, or at most like a week. Well, no more than a month. I finally found a room in a capsule hotel, but it was quite uncomfortable. So get this really small space to sleep, and that's it. So it's cramped, and I had trouble sleeping in an unfamiliar environment. Well, I don't think those are for me. And I don't think they ever will. Well, I don't think it's a fit for many people anyways. And up until now, I've been sleeping in my personal room, and this is more... so there was much more space and no thin walls that forced me to hear other people snoring away. Well, then again, he was treated as a subject, and if you don't want anyone else to find out about this illegal experiment, you're gonna make the room fortified, so thick walls, less windows, and a strong door that you can't open from the inside. Alright, but anyways, I need to find a proper housing. And I walk briskly through the streets. Well, first, I need to establish a base for my new life. I need a new, normal room, no more confinement. And from today onwards, I'm living an independent life.
いらっしゃいませ。本日はどのような部屋をお探しでしょうか。
Okay, so he's going to try this place for a room.
あ、保証人はいらっしゃらないんですか。いえいえ、それでは収入を証明するもので大家さんの説得を。
Uh-oh. So, do you have proof of income?
あ、お持ちではありませんか。
None?
いえいえ、でしたら銀行口座の預貯金の方などで説得を。
Okay, so how about a bank statement?
あ、お持ちではありませんか。
So, well then...
申し訳ありません。そういった状況ですと、デポジット、いやでも大家さんが嫌がるでしょうし。
Uh-oh. So, unfortunately, you're not able to prove that you have financial stability, so it's going to be hard for the landlord to accept you as a tenant.
あ、そうですね。口座などで確認させてもらえるのは安心材料の一つですね。
And I like how the realtor is trying his best to make it work. So, well, let's see how you can prove that you have financial stability. So, bank account, proof of income, a bank statement, or someone that can be your financial support. And unfortunately, he has none of the above.
お待たせいたしました。本日はどのようなご用件
Okay,
でしょ
so
うか。
how about I try to make a bank account?
新規口座ですね。それではまずはこちらの申請書に記載をお願いいたします。え？住所がない？あ、これから借りる予定ですか。
Uh-oh, so no address.
身分証もお持ちではない。
No ID.
申し訳ございません。そういった場合、当行ではちょっと。
Okay, so no ID, no address, so we can't open up a bank account for you.
口 座が作れなかった。ああ、そういう状況ですか。
So now you make it even harder for us to accept you.
そうなると、うちではご紹介できるお部屋の方はいかんともしがたく、申し訳ありません。
So now sorry, we can't make it work out, so good luck on your housing search.
と申されましても、同行ではいかんともしがたく、申し訳ございません。
And same from the banker, so we can't do anything if you don't have your ID or some residence or your address. So the real world is much tougher than I thought. And I can't open a bank account because I have no address. And I can't have an address because I don't have a bank account. Well, I'm guessing he could have used the Ibuki headquarters if he needed to have an address. But then again, I'm sure he's trying to disassociate himself from that corporation. And I don't even have a birth certificate in the first place. So basically, they can't prove that I'm a resident of this place or Japan. And maybe going out without much preparation was not such a good idea. So maybe I could have thought more and had Miyoshi-san help me more at figuring out what is needed in life. So besides money. Maybe I got too hasty. So is this where my journey ends? Well, all I have in my mind is a amalgamation of human knowledge and experiences. And I don't think anyone ever bothered to give me the thing that all humans possess instinctively. So, common sense. And I'm severely lacking in that area. Well, I don't regret going out, but I need to reassess the situation.
困った時には連絡をしてください。
Okay, so if you have any problems, feel free to contact me, says Manaka. So all I have is Miyoshi's contact info on my phone. However, if I need to rely on her every time I run into a roadblock, why did I even leave the room to begin with? So maybe I could use my ace in the hole. So, soul expansion. So maybe try to butter up, talk nice, and gain the trust of the banker and the realtor so that he can have a bank account and a place to stay. Wait, no. So I better not. It's not something I should default to. So it is kind of like cheating. And I can't cower in the face of a challenge. Well, I've never experienced this kind of difficulty before. So what Ibuki needed at the time was not me rushing into things headlong, but careful consideration and clear commands. And I relied on the knowledge in my mind, set clear guidelines, and gave instructions. But now I'm acting on my own. Yep, so that is why I left the room. And I can't give up right at the onset. There are more real estate agents I can visit.
ありません。
So I'm sure they're all going to deny his application and request. So I met with a sweet smile and soul-crushing news. So sorry, can't do. Sorry, can't do. And her smile looks a bit strained actually.
都合のいい条件あるわけねえだろ、なめんなこそ。
And that is what her smile is telling me right now. So this is what people mean by the masks people wear in society. So they talk nice, but in their inner minds, they're thinking otherwise, and never bothered with that back in Ibuki. Okay, so this is not the time to marvel at the complexity of social interactions. And the whole district is ragtag jumbling of restaurants, shops, and flashy signs. And at first, I began to think I might have come to the right place. Yet, every place seems to be a business-to-business wholesaler. And how many real estate agents are left? So this is hard. And I find myself feeling deflated after a day of disappointment. Hey, Oni-san? So, brother? Okay, so this is a good place to stop this episode, and we'll see how it continues for Kanato. So, without an ID, without a place of birth, a address of residence, or even a bank account to a much larger extent, it's going to be hard for Ibuki to establish his presence in this place. So, like I said before, he could consider using the Ibuki Corporation as his place of residence, but at the same time, he's trying to move on from Ibuki. So, well, I started my life there, I spent my life there, but it's holding me back, and I want to see what there is to life more than what's happening at Ibuki. So anyways, we'll see how he'll be able to get his own place to stay despite all these setbacks and limitations. And with that in mind, I'll see you later.